Every state has a different process when it comes to issuing concealed carry permits. Some states issue them without opinion as long as you pass required background checks. Some states get to decide if they want you to have a permit. To discuss the ins and outs of this mess, we're again talking to pro Second Amendment attorney Seth Morris. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me again, guys.
So let's start off with the difference between what some states call may issue and what some states call shall issue.
Yeah. So as far as shall issue, right? So in a shall issue state, as long as you meet all the requirements, so you pass the background check, you take the required course, you pay the fee, you do the fingerprint, whatever's required, you will be issued the permit. No questions asked. Like there's no ability by law enforcement to deny you as long as you do everything right. In a may issue state, even if you take the class, you have no criminal record, you pass the background check, you do everything right, you can still be denied the permit for a number of reasons. In a constitutional carry state, the law says you as a law-abiding citizen have the constitutional right to carry a concealed firearm if you so choose. Right? So as long as you're not a felon, as long as you're not a prohibited person, as long as there's no restraining or protection orders against you, you have the right as being a citizen of that state to carry a firearm. And it doesn't only extend to citizens of, we'll say North Dakota is a constitutional carry state, right? Because they are. And North Dakota has constitutional carry for their citizens and then anybody else that would qualify legally to carry a firearm. So as long as you're not a felon, you're not subject to a protection order or any of those things, you can carry a concealed weapon.
So let's stay on the topic of may issue, just because that one pisses me off. I'm sure there's some states that, I guess, use common sense when they're deciding whether or not they may issue, but I know we've talked about in the past, there's some states that are probably using it as more of an anti-gun message that they can get across. But what are some of the different ways states can apply may issue?
Yeah. So the most likely that you're going to see is a may issue. I guess what the government will say publicly why they are a may issue, right? So the first thing is they may require you to show a compelling reason that you need to carry a firearm concealed, right? And this is going to be the easiest for states like California to deny you because they can say, well, you just don't have a good enough compelling reason, right? So they can just turn everybody away essentially under the compelling reason. The second thing is you have to show that you have good character, right? And so showing good character, that could require character letters or references, but if you show a compelling reason, you still have to show good character. The final thing that they could look into, depending on the state, is a mental health records check, right? But what the biggest one that you see is the compelling reason, and that's, I think, what California generally uses. I was talking to a friend. He's a firefighter out in California, Marine veteran, and he can't get a concealed carry permit, right? It's like the guy that probably you want more than anybody else to be armed if you need it, just can't get it because of the county he lives in, right? He said, basically, I live in this county. If I lived in, ABC County, I could get one, but my sheriff just says there's no compelling reason to own a firearm or to carry a firearm.
Some of it based on just purely financial things too, because I know in New York, it seems like if you're rich, you can get your carry because they make it pretty expensive. It's a pretty expensive process to get your concealed carry.
So from what he described about California was generally your more affluent neighborhoods had sheriffs who would grant them. Which is unacceptable that you're price pointing someone's constitutional right.
Kind of seems kind of like a backwards ideology in a state that is so open to everything.
Yeah, it's amazing, right?
Crazy. California.
So yeah, I mean, a state determining whether or not you're allowed a firearm permit based on anything other than a criminal offense seems unconstitutional. How are they allowed to do this?
So I think there's two reasons that we see this. So the first is it's a very minority number of states that are may issue. I believe the number is 6 or 7. I'd have to double check. So most states are shall issue, right? So most of the states that would potentially raise it and have a chance of success at raising it, well, those people aren't having any issues getting their permits, so we're not seeing any appeals out of those states, right? The second is it just hasn't been taken up by the Supreme Court. The Ninth Circuit, which is California and the West Coast, which everybody knows is known for very rational and well-reasoned legal decisions involving firearms. They held that nobody has a constitutional right to carry a concealed firearms. They held that the Second Amendment doesn't extend that far. And in 2018, when it was appealed to the Supreme Court, they denied to hear the case. So it just hasn't made it to the Supreme Court. I didn't see why they kicked it, but just doing quick research for this, I was curious, because you'd think that somebody would have to fight it, but if they keep hitting the wall in the Ninth Circuit and then the Supreme Court won't hear the case, then unfortunately, that's why we have the laws that we do.
Yeah, I don't know why the Supreme Court's being so hesitant on hearing some of them now that, it's more stereotypically like conservative leaning, that's what they're saying right now. But it seems like they're still scared to take the case on, or to take these firearm cases or these Second Amendment cases.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I wish I could give you a good rhyme or reason why.
All right. So if you live in a may issue state and you're denied a permit, are you just shit out of luck, or is there anything you can do legally, anything?
Yeah. So, well, the first option is you can vote with your feet and move, right? You can get the F out of Dodge and move to a free state. But more likely for most people is they're not going to want to move. So what your options would be is take every appeal route that you have, depending on which state you're in. It's the thing is hiring someone privately is going to be expensive to take this, throughout the whole appeals thing. You may be able to find, I'm guessing if you were in California and they found the right person, right? Marine Corps veteran, law enforcement, former law enforcement, no criminal background, was kept getting denied their, concealed carry permit. The NRA or another group like that would probably be very interested in challenging this and helping you cover your legal expenses, right? So take advantage of resources in the Second Amendment community. Although we can have our disagreements among ourselves, generally against the outside, it's a pretty, we come together very quickly against outside forces like that. So you'd probably have a good chance of success in reaching out to different activist groups locally to help make enough stink that you can get this changed.
So people living in a may issue state that may have some trouble getting a firearms permit, or may have a sheriff or somebody like that isn't really into granting a lot of them, are there any tips or pointers or anything like that they can use when applying for their concealed carry that you would think about?
Oh man, that's tough, because I don't know a lot of the logistics of each particular state, but one of the things that would probably be advisable, if you do have anything on your criminal record, take the fullest extent of what is available to you, right? If it's getting criminal, even if it's just misdemeanor, traffic or a drunken disorderly from when you were in college, take the fullest extent that you can to put an asterisk or to remove those from your criminal record to help bolster yourself, right? You have to kind of be your own advocate. So clean up that criminal record. And probably in those states, or if they weigh heavily on your letters of recommendation, it's going to be a large part of who is writing that letter. So, you don't want to go to your mom, your dad, your sister, or your brother, right? You want to get some people, in the community that are well respected, and that would be a powerful voice in your corner.
Again, a lot of valuable information. Hopefully that helped everybody out there who's facing a difficult situation and living in a crappy state. But thanks again for being on the show. If you want to remind everybody once again who you are, where you work, and how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, my name's Seth Morris, attorney at Berry Law Firm. I can be reached by email. You can find that on our website, jsberrylaw.com, or by phone, 402-466-8444. Thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome. Thanks again.